Emerging technology commonly refers to technologies that are currently developing or that are expected to be available within the years ahead, and is usually reserved for technologies that are creating or are expected to create significant social or economic effects. And since technology today is evolving at a rapid pace, enabling faster change and progress, causing an acceleration of the rate of change, it's a good thing we stay on top of it. So here are some doozies, 15 emerging technologies that will change our world. Deep fakes. Deep fake technology. Ever heard of it? You most certainly have seen it, either on social media apps or in special effects in movies. How it works is such that anyone can seamlessly stitch anyone in the world into a video or photo they never actually participated in. In movie making, such capabilities have existed for decades. That's how the late actor Paul Walker was resurrected for his part in Fast and the Furious 7, a franchise he made famous while he was alive. Now, deepfake technologies can synthesize images and videos much more quickly. We literally have apps that do it instantaneously. And that's why a growing unease has settled around deepfake technologies that make it possible to create evidence of scenes that never happened. Celebrities have found themselves the stars of adult content, and politicians have turned up in videos speaking words they never really said, like all fake, and corporations don't like it either. Social media platforms have banned it from their networks. That's how strongly deepfakes divide people, no matter how much fun it is to see. Is it just about videos? Absolutely not. Audio can be deepfake too, to create voice skins or voice clones of anybody. Fasten your seatbelts, because it's time for today's sweet topic. Did you know that in the South Korean city of Busan, engineers have designed a historic agreement to build the world's first sustainable floating city prototype? The project is to be realized off the coast of Busan, a city with 3.4 million residents, and the floating cities of the future could look a lot like the one in this image, where part of the design stays submerged while the rest of it floats above the surface. Looks cool, right? Sustainable floating cities are a part of the arsenal of climate adaptation strategies available to us. Instead of fighting with water, maybe we should learn to live in harmony with it. This might be the perfect solution. Around 40% of the world's population lives within 100 miles off the coast. As sea levels continue to rise, coastal cities are facing unique demographic, environmental, economic, social, and spatial challenges. Are we looking at a future of floating cities? Tell the world your thoughts in the comments section with the hashtag #SweetTopic. Sonic fire extinguisher. Fighting forest fires can be a huge challenge, and they're often in remote areas, hard to reach, or there's little to no access to water. So what do? Recently, 2 undergraduate engineering students created an acoustic fire extinguisher for their senior design project, using sound waves to quell the flames. Genius, right? Fighting flames with bass. The acoustic extinguisher works by using sound waves to push oxygen away from the source of a flame and spread it over a large surface area. These actions break the fire combustion triangle made up of heat, fuel, and oxygen, the 3 elements required for a fire to burn. The acoustic fire extinguisher puts out flames using low-frequency bass without relying on water or chemicals. Having acquired a preliminary patent application for the design, the researchers are now hoping to move on to further testing and refinements of their extinguisher, taking steps towards a potential commercial application. Around 90% of wildfires in the US are started by humans, some as deliberate acts of arson, but most unintentionally. Perhaps people could put out their campfires with a little blast of bass. This would be a useful way to deal with the fire quickly. The metaverse. You've heard this word a lot lately, so in a nutshell it means this. If the contemporary internet experience is two-dimensional, meaning you browse and scroll through it on a screen, the metaverse is 3D. You'll be walking through it via connected headsets or glasses. And understanding the metaverse is complicated, especially because it doesn't entirely exist yet. It's unclear whether there will be one metaverse or many, but it will be an immersive next-generation version of the internet, likely rendered by virtual or augmented reality technology. The venture capitalist Matthew Ball describes the metaverse as a successor state to the mobile internet, and a platform for human leisure, labor, and existence at large. Sounds interesting, right? For now, a virtual world mimics the space constraints and land scarcity of the real world. In other cases, it just means users sharing specially created spaces for a particular game or a special time-sensitive event. But the metaverse is intended to be so much more if the experts have their way. But questions of control are an issue here, especially if your metaverse is controlled by a corporation that wants to draw value from all that user-generated work. Is Meta better? We'll find out soon enough. Quantum computers. In 2019, Google made a big announcement. It announced its quantum computer named Sycamore had achieved quantum supremacy. That's when quantum computers can complete tasks exponentially more quickly than their classical counterparts. Apparently, it solved a problem in 3 minutes that would take an average computer 10,000 years. Computer scientists have for decades sought to harness the behavior of subatomic particles that can simultaneously exist in different states, in contrast to the real world that people perceive around them. In fact, these particles can exist in more than one state at a time. It's this ability that quantum computers take advantage of. Instead of bits, which conventional computers use, a quantum computer uses quantum bits known as qubits. So this means that a computer using qubits can store huge amounts of information and uses less energy doing so than a classical computer. Traditional laws of physics no longer apply here. We'll be able to create processors that are 1 million or more times faster than the ones we use today. So it's no coincidence that some of the world's most influential companies are investing in quantum computing technology. Living robots. A team of biologists and computer scientists created these novel, tiny, self-healing biological machines from frog cells. Named xenobots after the African clawed frog, the machines are less than 0.04 inches wide, small enough to travel inside human bodies. They can walk and swim, survive for weeks without food, and work together in groups. The researchers scraped living stem cells from frog embryos and left them to incubate. Then, the cells were cut and reshaped into specific body forms designed by a supercomputer, forms never seen in nature. Some of the cells, after a few days, differentiated to produce cilia, tiny hair-like projections that move back and forth or rotate in a specific way. Instead of using manually sculpted cardiac cells whose natural rhythmic contractions allowed the original xenobots to scuttle around, cilia gives the new bots legs to move them rapidly across a surface. In a frog or human for that matter, cilia would normally be found on surfaces, like in the lungs, to help push out pathogens and other foreign material. On the xenobots, they're repurposed to provide rapid locomotion. Programmable life forms. We're looking at the world's first living robot. Self-healing concrete. This material that builds our buildings, paves our roads, and spans our bridges is the most widely produced and consumed material on Earth apart from water. And of all the carbon emitters that surround us every day, it's easy to overlook it. Good old-fashioned concrete. Although its environmental impact is far from low, concrete, defined as the mixture of aggregates, water, and the hydraulic powder material known as cement, is incredibly useful and widely applicable. And with this new self-healing concrete, water is the catalyst that activates the solution. It's only with the arrival of concrete's nemesis itself, rainwater or atmospheric moisture seeping into cracks, that the bacteria starts to produce the limestone that eventually repairs the cracks. It's a similar process to that carried out by cells in our body that make bones. Bacteria are mixed and distributed evenly through the concrete, but can lie dormant for up to 200 years, as long as there's food in the form of particles. Healing these cracks the old-fashioned way is no small expense. According to the project working on the self-healing concrete, annual maintenance cost for bridges, tunnels, and other essential infrastructure is in the billions of dollars per year. This could be the answer to all our concrete conundrums. Hypertrains. You better get used to the idea of rolling to work or on your vacation via hypertrains, because passengers are already experiencing this state-of-the-art travel experience in test runs. Supporters argue that Hyperloop could be cheaper and faster than train or car travel, and cheaper and less polluting than air travel. They claim it's also quicker and cheaper to build than traditional high-speed rail. Hyperloop could therefore be used to take the pressure off gridlocked roads, making travel between cities easier and potentially unlocking major economic benefits as a result. The Hyperloop is the futuristic idea of passenger and freight transportation in a sealed tube or system of tubes. Unlike a regular subway train or railroad, Hyperloop's low air pressure allows a passenger pod to travel free of excess air resistance or friction at hypersonic speeds. The pods travel through tubes or tunnels, but most of the air has been removed, and they move at super speeds using magnetic levitation, like an air ski, to reduce friction. So the pods travel at up to 750 miles per hour as a result of this clever engineering, while being energy efficient. That's why a number of different companies are working to turn the ideas into a functioning commercial system. Driverless cars. Fans of 1980s horror phenomenon that spawned a book and a movie might recall, one of the earliest driverless cars was Stephen King's Christine. Remember, the car that came to life? But these days, driverless vehicles have come a long way. Your own car may not be driving itself just yet, but you might already own a kind of driverless car without realizing it. Something as small as the beeping noise that guides your rear parking could mean your car is somewhat autonomous. And if your new car can park itself, it's likely to be more of a driverless vehicle than you think. If technology continues on this current course, it's your car that'll do all the driving for you. Waymo One, the ride-hailing service that uses driverless vehicles in the suburbs of Phoenix, can now be accessed and booked through Google Maps, the first fully autonomous ride-hailing option available in the app. The future is here. They have about 600 vehicles in its U.S. fleet. About 300 to 400 of those are in the Phoenix area alone. So clearly it's having some impact. The driverless taxi service means that a safety operator is not physically behind the wheel. It also means that if it pops up on Google Maps, users can be assured it will indeed be driverless. And that's good to know. E-bikes, the result of 4 years of research and development, prototyping, and testing before arriving at the finished product. Check out this ultimate in e-bikes. It's called Revo. Aimed at the urban cyclist, this has hubless, spokeless wheels, a beam-style frame, and a one-sided fork, and can even be locked and unlocked with your fingertip. The fingertip technology to lock and unlock the bike, paired with the integrated automatic lock housed inside the frame to protect it from bolt cropper attacks, should make Revo virtually theft-proof. Take that, thieves! If they do steal your e-bike, take advantage of the bike's integrated GPS with motion detection, allowing you to set a custom geofencing radius and know where your bike is by checking the app. It also has automatic brake lighting integrated into the rims. The headlight and rear light also turn on and off automatically, with all the lighting kicking out 800 lumens combined. These things can only be described as pure engineering excellence, all wrapped up in a strong, lightweight core with triple sealed technology. As an added bonus, no spokes means that Revo can store your stuff inside the wheels. Algae fuel. This kind of biofuel is an alternative to liquid fossil fuels that use algae as its source of energy-rich oils. It also has an alternative to commonly known biofuel sources, such as corn and sugarcane. The technology and infrastructure to create fuel from this sort of biomass have existed for at least 60 years, and now several companies and government agencies are funding efforts to reduce capital and operating costs and make algae fuel production commercially viable. The energy crisis and the world food crisis have ignited interest in farming algae for making biodiesel and other biofuels using land unsuitable for agriculture. Algae can be grown with minimal impact on freshwater resources, can be produced using saline and wastewater, and are biodegradable and relatively harmless to the environment if spilled. Sounds ideal. It may cost more per unit mass than other second-generation biofuel crops due to high capital and operating costs, but are claimed to yield between 10 and 100 times more fuel per unit area. Algae can turn simple inorganic compounds such as CO2 and water into complex, energy-rich hydrocarbons using light as an energy source. Galactic tourism. A quartet of amateur space travelers recently went on a 3-day trip into Earth's orbit aboard a SpaceX capsule. Thanks, Elon Musk. This is being done by aerospace companies like Blue Origin and Virgin Galactic as well. These trips are the beginning of what could be a lucrative 21st century industry. Space tourism is human space travel for recreational purposes. Work also continues towards developing suborbital space tourism vehicles. There are already several companies planning to build suborbital vehicles and orbital cities within the next 2 decades. The essence of galactic tourism. These companies have invested millions, believing that this industry is on the verge of taking off, and the 4 space tourists on board the SpaceX safely splashed down off Florida's coast, completing the first ever 3-day mission in Earth's orbit with no professional astronauts on board. So we know it's possible. In 2019, NASA announced its aim to start allowing private astronauts to go onto the International Space Station, which is planned to be priced at $35,000 per day for one astronaut, and an estimated $50 million for the kids' ride there and back. Smart mirrors. Remember in Snow White when the evil queen converses with her magic mirror? Smart mirrors will make you feel like you're living in a fairy tale. They can answer your questions and provide you with information, all while you fix your hair, do your makeup, or brush your teeth. We're here for it. But how does a smart mirror work? It has 3 components: a 2-way mirror, digital display, and computer. Unlike standard mirrors, smart mirrors need light to pass through from behind the glass to view the display. Behind the glass, there's a built-in digital display powered by an internal computer. The computer connects to your home's wireless network or your phone via Bluetooth, allowing it to display real-time information from the internet. As you can probably guess, smart mirrors are significantly more expensive than traditional mirrors, but after all, they have a computer inside them. Smart mirrors often have built-in LED lights too, allowing you to adjust the color and warmth to provide optimal lighting for your needs. Some smart mirrors play music via Bluetooth and let you make phone calls or access the apps on your phone. It can provide personalized information about your skincare and makeup, while the fitness device provides workout guidance right on the glass. Lab-grown milk. Dairy isn't for everybody. Between 1 and 2 in every 10 people have lactose intolerance. Can you imagine? It's more common in countries and places where milk isn't a big part of the average adult diet, including Africa, Asia, and South America. That's why we now have so many kinds of milk to choose from at the supermarket, as well as people ditching cow's milk and going vegan. Lab milk closely resembles cow's milk in nutritional composition and taste, but it's made with 0 involvement from any animal. Instead, the dairy proteins that are so important to taste and texture are synthetically made in a laboratory. This is down to a combination of science and fermentation. To create the taste and creamy texture, we rely on animals to eat plants and turn them into proteins. This gives dairy products their unique flavor and nutritional characteristics. To replicate this process in a laboratory, a modified yeast is used to convert plant sugar into whey and casein. These are the same proteins that are in cow's milk. This is leading to animal-free dairy products that are a much closer match to those made with cow's milk. The lab-based manufacturing process also offers a number of environmental and ethical benefits compared to animal-derived dairy. Starlink Internet. Owned by billionaire entrepreneur Elon Musk and run through his commercial aerospace company SpaceX, the Starlink Internet project aims to beam strong broadband connections across the globe using a network of thousands of satellites. And back down on Earth, the Starlink broadband router has now been approved for consumer use, marking a significant step forward in connecting our homes to the upper atmosphere. That's good news. As a result, it's safe to say Starlink broadband will be a very real option for us quite soon. But how does it work? Satellite broadband as we know it today uses a lot of the same technology you already benefit from on a day-to-day basis, like satellite TV and GPS. However, Starlink instead transmits data through lasers, which, like fiber optic broadband, means it travels at light speed, the fastest possible pace anything can physically move. Starlink once said that in perfect conditions it could reach consistent speeds of 150 Mbps download and 40 Mbps upload. A recent test with the US Air Force even saw it hit ultra-fast speeds of 600 Mbps. Not bad, Musk. These are game-changing speeds for areas that currently have little to no connection at all. Exoskeletons. A powered exoskeleton, also known as power armor, is a wearable mobile machine that's powered by a system of electric motors, pneumatics, levers, hydraulics, or a combination of technologies that allow for limb movement with increased strength and endurance. The Guardian XO by Sarcos is a full-body, powered industrial exoskeleton, kinda like the one soldiers wore in the film Avatar. And this battery-powered wearable robot system can safely lift up to 200 pounds with minimal effort by the user. The sole purpose of these exoskeletons is to boost performance rather than replace people. It works in unison with a person's intelligence, instinct, and judgment, which amps it up with the strength, endurance, and precision of machines. Plus, it has to provide back support, sense the user's motion, and send a signal to the motors that manage the gears. The exoskeleton supports the shoulders, waist, and thighs and assists movement for lifting and holding heavy items while lowering back stress. The 150-pound weight of the suit bypasses its user and is transferred directly into the ground. So although it looks hard to wear, the weight of the system isn't something that the user experiences directly. And not only that, it takes seconds to put on and take off. There's no stopping progress, right? As soon as we get used to one amazing technological advancement, another one pops up to make our lives even easier. That's what's so exciting about our changing world. So, like and subscribe while you're here, and stick around for more great videos.